Hey everyone, this is Dean, and in this video today I want to show you how I prep my images in Photoshop to upload to Instagram. Now, have you guys ever uploaded a vertical image to Instagram and it cuts the top and the bottom off the image? Well, it does so because Instagram works on a 4:5 ratio where our cameras are going to be a 2:3 ratio. Now, this may not bother you, but it really disturbs me. I spend a lot of time getting my composition spot on to where I'm happy with it, and then I don't want Instagram to cut the top and the bottom off. So if you're in the same boat, let's jump into Photoshop and I'll show you how I prep my images for Instagram. Okay, before we start, I just want to clarify that we are resizing images here to post to our timeline on Instagram, okay, not our Instagram story, because they are a different size. So what happens with Instagram is when you post an image to Instagram, it will upsize it or downsize it to suit its perimeters, and those perimeters are 1080 pixels wide by a maximum of 1350 pixels high. So if you had a really big image, it'll bring it down to 1080 wide, and that's the one that it really sort of defaults to is the width, and then it'll work out its height. And then if it happens to be a portrait, then you have a maximum space of 1350 pixels high. So it's really important to understand that. And the other thing is it's important to understand that the best way to post to any platform like this is to send it to the platform in the exact size that they want. That way you're not upsizing it or downsizing it, and this is where all the problems can occur. So let's quickly start. I'll just show you a landscape image, and you can also use the same principle for a square image, because these really aren't hard to upload. We can downsize these and they will go in without any cropping at all. So this image here it's full size, it's a worked image. So the other thing is you don't want to be doing any editing in Instagram. You want to have everything edited, ready to go. So we come up the top here to image size. Okay, so this picture here is 5919 pixels wide by 3946 high. So let's just change this here to pixels. And we need to make sure that this is ticked, so we're constraining the proportions, and we're coming down in size, so our interpolation method needs to be bicubic sharper, which is the only one really that we have there for reduction in size. So all we do here is we change our width to 1080, and as you can see the height is only 720, so I would then go OK, and that is ready to go up to Instagram. Now you notice I didn't change the resolution here. I just want to talk about this because we've been hoodwinked for a long time. You're probably saying, hey, hang on, it needs to be 72 pixels per inch. Well, in actual fact, it does not make any difference at all, because all of these platforms or anything on the web, all it's looking at is the actual dimensions here. That's all it cares about. And then it will be displayed on your device at whatever pixels per inch your device is. So where 72 came from was when the web sort of started. All of our monitors back in those days were all 72 pixels per inch. Nowadays what happens is everything's different. So my monitor here in my studio is roughly about 106 pixels per inch. My iPhone X is 458 pixels per inch. So what happens is the device just looks at the pixel dimension and then displays it in the pixels per inch, whatever that actual device is. So it doesn't matter whether it's 72, 300 or 5000, makes absolutely no difference at all. Where it does make a difference is when you're printing. So when you're printing, you need to have your resolution at 300 to get quality from your print. So printing, it certainly makes a big difference. Anything else web-based doesn't make any difference at all. Rightio, so we would go OK, and you can see that's downsized that there. I'll just open the image size box again. So we now have an image that's 1080 wide by 720. and that will upload to Instagram perfectly. Now let's have a look at a vertical image or portrait shaped image, because these are a little bit different and we can run into some bother here. Now, as I said earlier, Instagram works on a 4:5 ratio, where our cameras are a 2:3 ratio. So this is where the problems occur. And remember, we've only got 1080 wide by 1350 to work with. So let's have a look at the image size of this image. Okay, so again, this one is full size. So let's make this width 1080. This is what Instagram wants, and this is what Instagram would do to this image if I send it to it in its full size, is it's going to bring it down to 1080 wide, but then look what happens is our height is actually 1620. So the height is higher than what the actual image is. So this is where the cropping occurs. So it'll crop some off the top and some off the bottom, which is not what I want. I don't want the bottom to be cropped off, because I've worked really hard on my composition here to have these elements sitting exactly where I want them, and everything is perfectly balanced. So I don't want to crop this image at all. So the other thing you're probably saying is, well, let's change the height to 1350. So let's change that to 1350. So now our width is only 900. So if I posted this to Instagram, then what Instagram is going to do is it's going to go, it's only 900 wide, we need to make it 1080 wide. And by making it 1080 wide, it's then 1620 high again. And of course, it's going to crop it back to 1350. So either of those two methods are going to cause a vertical image to be cropped. So here's what you do. You make the height 1350. Okay, and our width is now only 900. We go okay. Now let's bring that up in size. And now to get it to 1080 wide, we use canvas size. So it's going to put a white border on it, or whatever color you want. So just down here, so canvas size. Now we need to change this to pixels. And you can see here, so it's 1350 by 900. Leave this one unchecked and just leave your anchor point in the middle. I want a white border, so this is where we pick here the canvas extension. We've got options of black, white or grey, or a foreground or background color. I want to keep it white. And then what we do is we change our width to 1080. You can see the height hasn't changed. Go OK. So now we have an image. If I go back to image size, exactly the size that Instagram wants it, 1350 by 1080 high. Okay, that is now ready for Instagram. I don't add any sharpening. I find my images are sharp enough, so I just downsize them and send them like this. I don't add any sharpening. If you want to add sharpening, then do so. Just be careful if you're adding sharpening now. This is quite a small file dimension wise, so you don't want to be adding too much because it's going to be quite aggressive. Now let me just open the history here, and I'll take this image back to where we started, and I just want to show you how quick this is. So this is where we open the image. So we're now back to a full-size image. What I have done is I have set this up as an action. So when I want to use an image for Instagram, just let me flatten that layer. So I've got it set up as an action. So I just open my actions palette here. So Instagram, so there's one there for a landscape, which I would use for landscape or a square image, and then one here for a vertical. So let me just play it. Okay, and you see how quick that is. It only takes like a second. And what this has actually done, I've got the action set up. Now, I've set this up with the image size coming down in steps. Okay, and this is a technique I showed in my last video, resizing images. So if you're not up with resizing images, or you want to learn a little bit more, then just have a look at that video. Basically what it does is, instead of going from 6,000 pixels down to 1350 pixels in one jump, it takes it in little steps, which I just feel gives you a much better end result. And then what I've also done with this and incorporated it into the action is I've added a layer, and then I've stamped my my logo or my watermark signature here. And the reason why I put it on an empty layer is that then I can grab the move tool and I can position that to wherever I want. And I could have made this a black logo by changing the foreground color, so it'll stamp the color of the foreground. So maybe with this particular one it might have looked better black on the white snow. And then being on a layer, if I find that that is a little bit too strong, I can just drop the opacity back. There you have it. If you're not up with actions, then have a look at my video on how to create an action, because it really makes this whole process very, very quick. I can just take an image and hit that button, and 2 seconds later it's ready for Instagram. Now you could save this as a JPEG, or I'm going to actually show you how I now export this for Instagram. I don't save it as a JPEG. I use one of Photoshop's export features because it has a few more functions and just allows the file to maintain its clarity and quality, but dropping the file size down, which means it uploads quicker and easier. So what we do is we can just leave those layers. It doesn't matter whether it's layered. We just come up here to File, Export, and then Save for Web. By the way, if you're on an older version before CC, I think it used to be under Edit and then Export. I remember at some stage they did move it. Anyway, this is a Save for Web window here. So I'll just run through the settings here. So we want to export this as a JPEG. We have different options here, but keep it as a JPEG. Now I leave it at maximum quality of 100. You can go a little bit lower if you want to. I don't really see the point in going lower because it does apply compression. So let's keep it the highest quality that we want. These others you can just leave it as it is, optimize, leave that ticked. Now this is important to tick this one here, convert to sRGB, because you want it to convert to that profile, because that's the color space that we need for the web. And actually I normally have this one here ticked as well. So this includes an ICC profile, so that embeds a profile into the file. Now these ones down here don't really this one here doesn't really make any difference to the output. It's just your preview, so I'm using the document profile because that's how it's going to look. And you can add your copyright and contact info here. But what this does is when you export from here, it doesn't attach any metadata, so that's one of the reasons why it ends up a smaller file size. Down here you don't need to touch any of this because this is for resizing the image, and we're not resizing the image here, we're doing it back in Photoshop itself via image size. Now you can go 2 up here, and then what it does is you can just scroll around the image and it just shows you on the left here is your original image, it's basically the resolution of it. And on the right, it's how it's going to look under those settings. So as you can see, there is really minimal difference. And you know, this is a 4.17 megabyte TIFF file, and this is a 1.29 megabyte JPEG. So as you can see, we haven't really lost any detail at all. Okay, and then from there we just hit save. And I have a folder set up for my Instagram images, so I would just put it into here and save it, and that'll save it as a JPEG, and it's ready to go to Instagram. Now, a little bit of bonus content for you guys today. I want to show you how I now get this image to Instagram without using my phone, because when I started on Instagram, it used to drive me mad having to upload everything from the phone, and that's why in the early days I didn't really adopt Instagram that well, because it used to just annoy me. So just let me open up the internet and I'll show you how I do that. I do it via a program called Later. Okay, so here we are in Later. I'm on the internet. Now this is a free program. I use the free version of it. You can get a paid subscription which gives you more features, but I find that it does everything I need it to do without having to pay for it. Now you can post here to multiple different platforms. I've got mine set up to post to Instagram and also here to Facebook. So I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on how this works. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because that's probably another video in itself. But if you're not aware of this program, it's pretty amazing. It's just awesome to be able to post from your computer to Instagram instead of having to get your images off your computer onto your phone to then upload to Insta. Well, basically what we do here is we just hit upload media, we find our picture, I've uploaded that image to here. Okay, and we've got a planner here. The other beaut thing with this is that we can schedule, so we can schedule stuff to be posted later. That's why it's called later, I'm guessing. And just let me show you, so if I want to post this tomorrow, I just drag it over to here, place it whatever time frame I wanted to place it, and I'll just write my caption in here. I can tag people and I can add a location here, and then I would just go save. Okay, and you can see there that that is then set to post to Instagram tomorrow at 3:10. There you go, that is later. I'm sure there's probably other programs that do the same thing, but I've been using this one for probably 12 months now and really love it. So there you go, guys, that's how I prepare my vertical images for Instagram. Hope you found it useful. Hope it's a nice, quick, easy way for you to get those images into Instagram without any cropping. If you're new to the channel, hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you enjoyed it, then please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little bell. That way I can let you know each time a new video is out. You guys have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.